Angels. Today is not uploading a video on cooking. It is uploading my very first video on exercising. So I'm doing a couple of laps with a 4.5 kilo weight in one hand, and I'll interchange that as I go around laps. And I thought I'd use this opportunity to talk about health and where I'm at with my own health and what I'm doing to get my health better. So I recently had found out that I have celiac disease, and it can be the reason why I have periodic episodes of being anemic, and internally on the intestine it has overpowered me at some point. So I'm fighting back to look after my health and reverse some of the damage that the celiac disease has done. And I want to also talk about and make aware of what a leaky bowel is and the challenges that you face with that. And so we'll go from there. Right. So back in December of 2023, started just before Christmas, a week before Christmas, and I was embarrassingly running to the toilet. And as the days went on, the symptoms didn't subside. It actually got worse, and my anxiety flared up. So I suffer from PTSD, and when your health is not in alignment with your mental health, everything can go high wire. So months went by, and I did everything that I could to seek doctors, got stomach ultrasounds done, and I ended up getting a colonoscopy done, and that came back with results that I have celiac disease. And it was like that moment where it all makes sense now. So symptoms of celiac disease that I experience, and I mean everybody is different when it comes to health and how their body copes with it. So we're all individuals, and I completely understand that. But from my own experience, my stomach was heavily bloated. I would say I looked almost pregnant. My umbilical hernia, it was so huge and so painful to touch. I have a 9 o'clock hemorrhoid that I've always had since I had my first child, and that was becoming very sensitive throughout the weeks, and I felt tired, very dizzy. There was some times that I had actually fainted, and that was scary for my eldest child. And lucky that when I had those moments that my son has been with me. It was also the nausea, feeling sick and vomiting. I'd vomit in the car, and if I wasn't vomiting, I was losing my incontinence in the shopping centre, in the car, and basically lifting just a load of washing would trigger a little slip. So I ended up getting the colonoscopy done, and we finally, as I said, came back that I had celiac disease, and I have slight damage to my small intestine. So I'm on the mend. Now, I'm not one into fad diets and stuff. That's probably why I ended up being where I am today. I love my bread. Growing up, we used to have a lot of bananas on bread rolls, and as someone that likes to cook for my children, you can just imagine what our meals would be like, and our tummies would be full. But so we know that with celiac disease, it's all about cutting out the gluten. So I cut out breads, and then from there I just cut out pasta and anything that would set my stomach off. So I'd cut little things out, like even like I like my sour cream, don't get me wrong, but I had to cut that out too. But yeah, so, and just by accident, I ended up stumbling onto Laura Spath's her YouTube channel, and I guess she has been an inspiration, because I was just flicking through meals that I can do and change out the way I would cook for my family, and how it wouldn't affect them too much. And Carnivore came on, and I was really intrigued. And you know, I don't want to ramble off too many doctors and that, but when you do your research on the carnivore diet, I thought, wow, you know, can carnivore reverse some of the damages that I've got going on? Can it, you know, I'm not doing this for the weight loss. It is, I want to reverse the damage that the celiac disease and the gluten has done to my body. And I didn't know that celiac disease runs in the family, and it all makes sense why my sister and I faint. And I've always been low in iron. So, you know, better late than never to find out what's really wrong, so you can start on the right track. So going back to Laura Spath, she showed me, showed many people how to incorporate different proteins into their diet. And what I like about the carnivore, it's not so much about counting calories, it's about counting those proteins. And let me know in the comments below if I'm doing it right, but if I'm 170 centimeters, that then equates to eating 170 grams of protein. So that's how I'm working that out. So I will have, when I first started, I'll talk about that. When I first started, and it was just almost 5 weeks ago. I'll be 5 weeks on Tuesday. The first week was fine. I didn't really struggle that much, but the second week was a bit of a challenge, because I think they call it the carnivore flu. So I felt really drained, tired, and I had headaches. And one thing I will say, if you were on the carnivore diet and you're experiencing headaches, is to up the salt content. So I would have 2 packets of electrolytes, and however you want to get that down in water or in sparkling water. So that really does help. And Laura Spath says that it helps you keep the water in instead of just weighing it out, if that makes sense. So, and it does help, like I said, it does help with the headaches. on week 3, can I just say how wonderful being on the carnivore diet improves your mental health. So if you're suffering from depression, or like me, PTSD, and you're overly stressed, it triggers stress and your anxiety, obviously, the carnivore diet has, I think, been a saviour to my mental health. And I do take magnesium with calcium and D3. I take 2 tablets a day. That has also helped as well. But I feel that it's mainly the carnivore diet that has improved my mental health. So I thought, you know what? I might just start weighing myself. And I've lost 12 kilos, and I lost 12 kilos in less than 4 weeks. And I think most of that weight loss is the water loss. And I know that because my rings aren't tight on my fingers, and like so that even when I'm hot, my fingers don't swell. And the more water that you drink, I started to drink, it was 2 litres a day, but then I bumped my water up to 2.5 litres. So it flushes out any of that yucky stuff. You know what I mean? So, like I said, carnivore, it improves your mental health. I feel more energized. That's another thing. I used to wake up in the mornings and my back would ache, and I felt like I was aging faster. And starting this carnivore journey, and I'm going to say it's a new way of living. I'm not even going to call it a diet anymore. It's just a new way of living and eating good food, healthy food, not that processed stuff. So I'm not getting off track. So it helps you with your mental health. It helps with memory. If you're suffering from memory loss, it helps you be able to think clearly and be able to remember what you did the day before and what you got to do the days to come. So it's really great for memory. You know, I understand it's only a couple of weeks into it, but I'm sure that if I'm on guard now, know what I need to do, know when my appointments are set, I just wonder what the benefits would be for people who suffer from dementia. So, and I know that's something that runs in my family as well, is dementia. So, who doesn't want a long life where they can enjoy and remember their family, their children and grandchildren, and hopefully one day great grandchildren, and remember everything. So I go back in a year's time to get another checkup, to see where my healing, my internal healing is at, and also if I have reversed the clock of the celiac. We'll see. That'll be good to see where those levels are reading. And my teeth. Yes, I'm going to talk about my teeth. They feel smoother, like not slimy, but smoother. Like I feel like they're getting stronger. Yeah, that's another with your teeth. And the number one reason why I started was because of my leaky bowel. Now I have to get back to that. So with my leaky bowel, So I want to happily report that in the last week there's been a relief, and they do say that celiac is one of many things that can trigger a leaky bowel. So that healing, once you eat right and you cut out any of the gluten, well, going carnivore solves eating no gluten. It should take roughly, on average, 4 to 6 months to heal. So, or to see improvements is what I wanted to say, to see improvements. And yes, since last week, I've seen improvements. So, yes, I think I'm on that wagon now where I try to convince anybody if they're wanting to lose weight to try at least carnivore for 4 weeks. You know, and yeah, it might be a little bit struggle, but it's all about challenging yourself, right? What would life be if everything was just smooth sailing? Sometimes you have to go off course in order to learn something new about yourself. So 4 weeks is what I would say to anybody. Just give yourself 4 weeks and let us know what's changed, what hasn't changed. So, as a beginner on the carnivore, I like mince, and I do rinse my mince under the sink. I don't like that extra floating oil. And then I will return that back to the stove and close the garlic in there minced. And I only like it just enough so you can smell the aroma. I don't like burnt garlic. And I will then put in a 1/4 cup of mozzarella cheese into that. That'll be 1 meal. I don't mind my scrambled eggs, and I'll have bacon with that. I'm not a big fan of eggs, but when I put the bacon into the scrambled eggs, it just tastes so much better. And when I was suffering from the headaches, or when they call it the carnivore flu, I could barely eat, and that was in week 2. So I would have bacon. Oh my gosh, do I love bacon. And you gotta make that extra crispy and put salt on it, right? It's all about having that meat, salt and water when you're on the carnivore. I keep my chicken relatively plain. I don't overly do it with the spices, because for me the spices trigger the IBS, and yes, I have to minimize the spice content, especially the chili powder and stuff. So I try not to spice my food up too much. I like my steaks, a variety of steak. I like my steak to medium rare, or just medium. Yeah, so I don't like the pork rinds too much. Not a big fan of that. That had actually upset my stomach. That was the pre-pork rinds that you can buy in a packet in the supermarket. So I wasn't a big fan of that. But I do like fresh cooked bacon. So, fish-wise, I love my salmon, because they say the more fattier on the carnivore, the better it is. So I like eating salmon over prawns and barramundi and your other typical white fish. But the salmon, and the crispy skin on that salmon, especially when you put the skin side down in butter first in the pan and you just let that get all crispy, turn it over, and less than 5 minutes it's ready. Oh my gosh, salmon, I really do like that. And I've heard this craze about sardines. Not a big fan of that idea, but but the salmon is beautiful. It tastes good. And I do, when I'm eating like that, I also am at the table with my children, and I incorporate whatever I'm doing into their meals as well. I don't neglect my children from having vegetables and salad, but if they want to try what I'm eating, that's great. And if not, that's okay too. But I'm happy that my children are equally aware of what's going on with my own health. So, carnivore. So this is a video of one of many, and I'm going to now jump onto my other hand, and we'll see each other soon. So thank you for coming along with my video and a little chit chat, and I'll keep you posted about my health. And in the comments, if you're on the carnivore diet, post how you're doing. And at the end of the day, I hope that you are all well and getting healthy and looking after your life. As I say to my children all the time, we've only got one life to live, so let's enjoy it and being healthy while we're at it. Bye everybody. And you are kicking